Good morning, Zambia, and welcome to yet another exciting edition of the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on Prime TV 2. Of course, we are back on a beautiful Monday like this one. It is a brand new week, and we are bold, informed, and of course, unapologetically committed to the truth. This is the Sunrise Breakfast Show and the country's #1 breakfast platform live on TV2. It is a fresh start. Of course, our minds are so refreshed from a weekend, and definitely we will be having some exciting conversations right here on the show as we start a week full of questions, decisions, and national conversations that demand our attention.
And we're coming to you live on Topster Channel 110 and streaming across Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and also via our website, that is PTV2 Zambia. My name is Kapili Dominic.
And my name is Rhoda. Dominic, good morning.
Good morning, Rhoda. How are you doing?
I'm good. How was your weekend?
My weekend was an interestingly fully packed weekend with quite a number of emotions, and of course packed up with church, packed up with motivation, and I'm alive here now. Yeah, I don't know about you.
I'm great. My weekend was wonderful. I think it's a fresh start, a Monday like this, where you set new goals that you want, to achieve at the end of the week. So definitely, it's going to be a jam-packed week. What's on your mind, with what has been going on over the weekend?
There's quite a lot that has gone on over the weekend. We have in the political realm, the Tonse, of course, making headlines, championing division, championing arguments, and championing all the wrong things that we don't expect of leaders. Then we also have at the other side of entertainment, we have a young man who was reportedly arrested. I don't know what he calls himself.
Allegedly.
Yeah, a Yakaipa reporter. You know what I mean? Always on social media, making rounds. But one of the most important things that I found out and realized this weekend is that you cannot do anything without God. You cannot do anything without prayer. And I spent my weekend mostly praising God and thinking about the things that He has done for me and where I am today. Yeah, I don't know what has been in your mind.
What has been on my mind is actually the same story that we did, see on making rounds on social media. Allegedly, we'll use the word allegedly because there hasn't been any official, statement from the police, either in Zambia or in Kenya, where he's alleged to be. But then I think the young man has been very vocal on social media in terms of defaming people, posting stories which we don't even know if they're true or not. This also makes me wonder, are we the young people using social media for the right reasons or the wrong reasons? I'm asking this question because if it's news that is defaming someone, if it's something that is negative, it always spreads fast, and we are so quick to engage in such conversations, forgetting that we have serious issues on the other side that we need, to give attention to. So it really makes me wonder. And also the Cyber Crime Act, obviously, which people have been using, and I think it's really just making us, to refrain a little bit from using harsh words or harassing people on social media. But at the end of the day, some people want to play smart and hide behind the keyboard warriors, but it's also giving us a picture of what is yet to come. It's because the law is not really, being lenient on anyone. So we also need to reflect on that. I think we'll be talking a little bit more on that issue, and so much more to come, especially on our entertainment segment, which you should be looking out for as the show goes on.
Yeah, and just to talk, just to add on the issue of the cyber law and how social media is, and the laws that govern social media and in the cyberspace, I feel we should also enhance and put the laws that govern, the CCTVs. We need strict laws to govern the people that use CCTVs, because number one, I don't think how they keep our footage, how they dispose of our footage is safe and what they use it for, and you know, we're supposed to be told, and we're supposed to know that we're under surveillance in this area, and then because that is how people are living their daily lives, and some of us would not want to be exposed in certain things. So I think there's quite a lot of things that we should be advocating for as young people and as Zambians as a nation, than chipping into funny politics, chipping into we're talking about the dress, is it the fugu dress, whatever, the, you know, in as much as it's culture, we've got also culture in Zambia, but there's more things that we can talk about as Zambians that should excite all of us and bring national conversation and bring the nation to stop than just an outfit. You know, there's a lot that we can do and talk about, and I think we should have that in our minds. But dear viewers, we're coming to you live on Topstar channel 110, and this is your show. Send us your thoughts on the number 0972 036 306. Drop your comments on our live platforms. Rhoda, before we delve in to our conversation this morning, what actually do we have? What's the program overview for the show today?
Right, so on our program today, Dominic, it is kind of heavy, important, and timely as well with the events that are happening. One thing for sure is that President Hakainde Hichilema is in Cape Town, South Africa, attending the 2026 mining Indaba. We'll definitely cross over live to our staffer Marcus Sakubita for insights on what Zambia stands to gain and what's at stake as well. As you know, this meeting is definitely important for our country. Now, in other news, government has announced that no by-election will be held in Mpika following the death of Town Council Chairperson Morgan Musoma. That is also another story that we are going to be reflecting on. You know, is this decision constitutional? Is it precedent setting? We'll also interrogate this with Lusaka-based lawyer Francisco Mumba. Now, also, the Tonse Alliance, led by Brian Mundubile, has made fresh appointments, including that of Tasila Lungu Mwansa as National Youth Chairperson, an appointment she is reportedly said to have declined. Quite interesting. We'll also speak directly to Alliance Spokesperson Lawrence Mwelwa to separate fact from politics, and later on also Jeremiah Sichalwe will sit down with Zambia Athletics Association President Major Bernard Bwalya amid growing controversy over alleged suspension and internal divisions. And yes, we will also make room to breathe with entertainment and lifestyle. So definitely best believe that it is a jam-packed show that you do not want to snooze on.
Oh yeah, and
if you snooze, you lose, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah, and just a reminder to our viewers, stay informed always. You can follow us on ptv2zambia.com. But before we go on, let's look at how the kwacha is performing against major international currencies. So the dollar is buying at 18 kwacha 58 ngwe and selling at 18 kwacha 63 ngwe. The euro is buying at 23 kwacha 04 ngwe and selling at 23 kwacha 94 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 26 kwacha 71 ngwe and selling at 27 kwacha 65 ngwe. And the rand is buying at 1 kwacha 23 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 27 ngwe. Those are the money markets for today, but remember the rates vary and change from bank to bank. Thank you.
Best believe that fuel, food and transport may still test your patience.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, some filling stations have been missing, have been low on gas, especially diesel. Of course, diesel and petrol at least is always usually there, but it's not a good thing that we should have shortages of fuel. Yeah. Now, looking at the headlines this morning, an 11-year-old girl in Kawe area has died hours after being allegedly beaten by a fellow pew and a teacher. Oosh, this is very sad. The deceased has been identified as a grade 6 pew Emily. Her parents told Prime TV2 Central Province staffer that their daughter left home in good health as she went for school on the 2nd on the 2nd of February 2026, they explained that while at school, Emily was involved in a fight with a fellow pupil, prompting a teacher to intervene, adding that the teacher reportedly separated the two and allegedly beat them both. Meanwhile, the 12-year-old boy accused of beating the now deceased has been placed under the care and protection of the Department of Social Welfare as investigations into the matter continue. We have the details in this following report.
I am standing in the premises of Kangomba Primary School right here in Cabo District of Central Province, where Emily Shane, aged 11, a grade 5 learner, used to learn. Now, most of you have seen the first story that we carried out as Prime Television Zambia. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, let me take you back. Now, on the 2nd of February 2026, Emily left home in a good health condition to school. It is alleged that she engaged in a fight with another boy aged 12. Now, when she went back home, she complained of stomach pains as well as headache. Now, this situation became serious and parents decided to rush her to a nearby clinic before she was referred to Mine Hospital in town. The next day, in the early hours of 3rd of February 2026, Emily was pronounced dead by health personnel. This shocked the parents who wanted to know what really necessitated the death of their beloved daughter. A post-mortem was conducted by the state pathologist, and it was mentioned and revealed that the child sustained internal injuries. Now, according to the Zambia Police Service Public Relations Officer Godfrey Chilabi, it's mentioned that police are investigating the matter, and so far the child has been placed in the care and protection of the Social Welfare Department according to the Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022. Now, Cabo District Education Board Secretary Inonge Mlemwa has actually commented on this story, clarifying that the teacher actually did not beat the child.
I want to do the clarification because I saw issues yesterday on Facebook to say a teacher had beaten one of the learners. It's not true. What happened is that the learners were learning in class. The teacher left out, came out, doing one or two things outside. Then children started fighting, and one of the friends in the same class separated them. We don't beat learners. In fact, we take care of them.
Well, currently, this is what is prevailing on the ground with regards to this story, and more is coming. Reporting for Prime TV News in Cabo District, Joseph Siambihi.
This is a very sad situation, and it should not happen, especially a young girl going to school and indulging into fights. I really don't know what to say, but this is very sad, actually.
It is sad. There's a comment that I did see because we posted this on our social media platform, and I think maybe it's very important that we read it. Peace Act says, please, I don't mean to injure the grieved family, and may the soul of the beloved child rest in eternal peace. On the other hand, it's possible she might have been beaten at school, but these are some of the things that teachers go through. It's difficult for a teacher to say, I didn't do that. Even the other child will be victimized. Let there be protection of the other child once more. Rest in peace, child of God.
This is very sad.
It is.
It is very sad, and may her soul rest in peace. But we should teach our children every day not to indulge in violence. I think also what we expose them to, what they watch, and we should monitor them, because this issue of fighting, it just doesn't start from from nowhere. It starts from things that our children are exposed to. So we as parents should also be very careful on what we expose our children to. We should be very, very circumspect about everything that concerns our children, because whatever it is we expose them to grows inside them and becomes part of them. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to yet another sad story. A 14-year-old boy has allegedly been killed by a lion in Lumezi district of Eastern Province. Now, this incident is believed to have occurred over the weekend around 22 hours in Chinsambe village under Chief Chitungulu. The victim has been identified as Isaac Ngulube, who was reportedly attacked while inside his house. So information indicates that a local resident, Stephen Nkata, rushed to Chipuka Wildlife Camp to report the incident. Wildlife officers, accompanied by an IFAW coordinator, immediately mobilized and proceeded to the scene. Upon arrival, the team found that the lion had already killed the minor, and to prevent further danger to the community, wildlife officers later shot and killed the animal.
That's actually very sad, wildlife, and I think we read a story of a place last week where they were trying to use the CDF to build a wall, just to put a wire fence to separate, the wildlife from our communities, because I think these issues of wild animals, different, elephants, monkeys, and then disturbing where people are living, and even disturbing their pieces of land, Bashanga, they have planted maize, and then they come and destroy. And I think it would be a good thing to actually try to build wall fences and try to help so that we cannot have direct interaction, so people cannot be.
Yeah, definitely. I think these human-animal conflicts should be resolved and should be treated as emergency once and for all. I think we cannot continue to lose lives in such a manner. Of course, the Zambia Wildlife Authority should pull up its socks and do something about it so that we don't continue to lose lives.
Oh yeah. So, and going on, some stakeholders and interest groups have called on for fair and level playing field as the Electoral Commission of Zambia commences the implementation of the delimitation exercise. Commenting on the announcement, governance activist Lawrence Mwelwa says Zambians expect a coordinated, well-organized and consultative process that will not negatively affect citizens as the country heads to the general elections. Meanwhile, fellow governance activist Choma Mwachikoka said political players expect the delimitation process to be conducted fairly and strictly in line with the ECZ constitutional mandate. Here is a report.
Stakeholders and interest groups have weighed in on the announcement of the creation of 70 new constituencies by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, anticipating that the process will be delivered within the mandate of the Commission.
With what you have heard from the ECZs, the process of the delimitation, what they have assured us as stakeholders is they're going to conduct something which is free and fair on the process of delimitation,
to make sure that they live up to the mandate which they are mandated by the law. As Zambia goes to elections, there are a lot of expectations from Zambian people to ensure that the ECZ live up to its promise. Any deviation might bring challenges or discomfort to the citizens of Zambia.
Choma Mwachikoka is also an interested stakeholder who is looking forward to a fair process.
I expect it to be fair, as ECZ has announced. I think they are looking at the demographics, they are looking at the number or the population in a particular constituency, and also the vastness of the constituency. I think it will be a fair distribution. I expect any stakeholder to complain when the report is published, because I think it will be a fair presentation the way they've presented it.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia Friday announced the commencement of the creation of 70 proposed constituencies to make 226 seats before the August 13th general elections. The ECZ chairperson, Wangala Zalumi, said that the commission will commence receiving submissions of the names, boundaries and proposed constituencies in all districts from 16th to 20th February 2026. Joanne Savila, Prime TV News, Lusaka.
Respect for the history, diversity and
You are still watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on Prime TV 2. I hope you are following through with us. Now, in another story in education, over 20 teachers from Kazungula district have undergone digital training aimed at enhancing computer literacy in schools. So the teachers have been trained by EC2 Digital School, an ungovernmental organization dedicated to expanding access to quality education for children and youth, especially in rural and underserved communities in Zambia. Enoch Chota, representing the organization, says one of the objectives of the program is to ensure there is equal opportunity for all pupils with regards to computer lessons. Colombo Tamwana Ngombe has the details in this report.
With the aim of empowering schools with digital technology, regardless of geographical location, EC2 Digital School, an non-government organization dedicated to expanding access to quality education for children and youth, especially in rural and underserved communities in Zambia and beyond, has trained teachers in Kazungula district in digital technology. Enoch Chota, representing the organization, shares the reason behind this program.
I started the EC2 Center or EC2 Digital Schools with the purpose of bringing support to the local teachers, especially those that are in remote places where digital materials are concerned and digital technology. So the purpose of today's meeting was really to enlighten the teachers, empower them and show them the way and to give them the tools they need to effectively attend to our kids.
He says the organization has seen the need to create an equal opportunity for all children in schools in the country, regardless of the location.
Well, basically from what I heard initially was I wanted really to help those that are really in need of help, so that we kind of create an equal platform, equal possibilities for everyone. The disabled, the young people in the villages that have never seen a computer before, so that we bring them onto a certain level, create a kind of equality, so that the chances are available whether you are in the village or whether you are in a big city, and those chances should be available to everyone. That's the main purpose of what we're doing.
Meanwhile, the trained teachers feel this will add value to the education sector.
It adds value to the education sector because we are living in the digital world. So everything now is going digital. So with the coming of AI, we need to prepare our children for the generation that is coming.
Others feel this will enable children, especially in rural areas, not to be left out when it comes to computer lessons.
I'm glad this program is here because our children will not be left out. That child out there in the rural area needs really this digital, and this program has come on the right time.
Several young people, both in tertiary and secondary school, have also been trained with regards to this program. The organization installs offline e-learning systems in schools and communities where internet access is limited. These systems provide free access to a rich digital library of education content, including video lectures and digital textbooks that support basic and advanced learning. Kwalombota, Mwanangombe, Prime TV News, in Livingstone, Southern Province.
Mushe mwalikwata Top Star Decoder. Mushe mwalishiwa kutila kutimwatamba Prime TV2 Zambia pa channel 110 nga chakutila mlefu okumfwa amadiashi ayalekanalekana okufuma kunchende ishapusana. Bakanyekanye mukumipekanisisha amadiashi konse kuntumletu mfuila baliba abaiteanya inshita yonse kumulabasa wenu wa Prime TV2. Prime TV2 omulabasa wenu kumadiashi nembila nsuma mumishi yenu.
Henna muligisi idekoda ya Topstar amwebele magani atugwa munchili aga simpe amu masena momukala ambunga bahimu wezelela tuwambo bahomega abahimulimo twamwetela magani muhyogo yonse hajihi ana majaja wa Prime TV2 channel 110 ninganda ileta magani mbwabele.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on Prime TV2. Of course, we're coming to you live on Topstar channel 110 and also live on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel as well. That's PTV2 Zambia. Now, over the weekend, the Brian Mundubile-led Tonse Alliance announced several appointments aimed at filling key positions within the alliance. So now, among them was the appointment of former Chawama member of Parliament and daughter of the late 6th Republican President, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, Ms. Tasila Lungu Mwansa, as National Youth Chairperson. However, these appointments have sparked controversy with reports suggesting that Ms. Lungu has declined the position, while questions have also emerged around legitimacy, internal divisions, and leadership within the Tonse Alliance. Now, to help us unpack these issues, we're joined by Tonse Alliance Spokesperson, Mr. Lawrence Mwelwa, and the newly appointed National Chairperson for Labour and Social Services, Mr. Chanoda Ngwira. Gentlemen, welcome to our Sunrise Breakfast Show.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on our program.
Just a point of correction, you know, to become a doctor, you work for it. It is therefore very prudent that you are recognized as such. I am Dr. Lawrence Mwelwa and not Mr. Lawrence Mwelwa. I thought I should make that point.
All right, we do apologize for that. All right, so let me begin with you, Dr. Mwelwa. There has been significant controversy surrounding the recent appointments. Can you clearly confirm to the nation, has Ms. Tasila Lungu Mwansa accepted or declined the position of National Youth Chairperson?
First and foremost, the controversy has not just been with the appointments. The controversy stretches way back. Before we can talk about the controversy, let's talk about the legitimacy of the Tonse Alliance, led by Brian Mundubile. The Brian Mundubile Tonse Alliance is a legitimate alliance, and I would like to give a brief background to that. Tonse Alliance was started by the gentleman seated next to me. It was started by Dr. Chris Zumani Zimba, the former political advisor to the late President Edgar Lungu, and Shoni Tembo, Reverend Dan Pule or Apostle Dan Pule. Those are the ones that started Tonse Alliance. They created it, they created the constitution. For any organization to be established, the first thing that you do is you do a constitution. And in that constitution, it was embedded in there that the late President Edgar Lungu was the chairperson and the presidential candidate of Tonse. We are all aware he's no more. And following his demise, it was just necessary that the constitution is amended because that was in the constitution. So the amended constitution provided for the election of a new chairperson and presidential candidate. And so Brian Mundubile was duly elected by 96%. 96% of the membership of Tonse Alliance. The removal of PF as an anchor party was based on the fact that who is Patriotic Front? We all know by now that Patriotic Front is Robert Chavinga. So any document mentioning Patriotic Front refers to the Patriotic Front led by Robert Chavinga. And so if we maintain that component in the constitution, that that PF is the anchor party, one day we'll just wake up and see Chavinga sitting in the chair at Tonse Alliance and say, I'm the chairperson, because I am the leader of the Patriotic Front. So it was necessary that we remove that. Coming to the appointment of Honorable Tasila Lungu Mwansa, we all know that even though the funeral has taken that long, we all know that she's still mourning. And I want to put to you that Honorable Brian Mundubile is a very decent politician, very honorable gentleman, a man of integrity, a man of wisdom. It would be very unreasonable for him to go ahead and appoint someone, first of all, who is mourning, and secondly, without having a conversation, without having an agreement, without having an engagement. The controversy is coming from the opponents who are not happy that the Tonse Alliance is moving forward. Those are the ones that are creating false information. They're the ones coming up with misinformation and propaganda just to try and tear down the efforts of the Zambian people. So if Tasila has rejected the appointment, we were not supposed to get it from Grindstone TV. Yeah, something like Grindstone TV. They were the first to publish the article that when did the Grindstone TV become the spokesperson of Tasila? Tasila has got a number for President Brian Mundubile. He has got a number for the leadership of Tonse. If she had rejected the position, we were the first one who were supposed to know. Secondly, if she had rejected the position, she also has her own official page where she could have announced that. Other than that, we don't know if you yourselves know, the spokesperson for Tasila Lungu. I don't think she has any spokesperson. All the media houses that have reached out to me, one question that I've asked them is that, have you spoken to Tasila? They say no. So it's really amazing that the media houses that we have respected for years, such as the Daily Nation, would come up with a huge headline without verification, without consulting Tasila. The question that I want to ask the media is, have they spoken to Tasila to get her views? But I want to tell you that I can confirm that our leadership, the top leadership of Tonse, traveled into South Africa. They had a long conversation before that appointment was made. So you must treat that as misinformation and propaganda. She has not rejected the position. Their fear is that accepting that position is an endorsement of the Brian Mundubile leadership.
So she has not declined?
She has not declined. Those who are claiming that she has declined, give us proof. Give us a letter from her with her signature. It's just that we don't want to be dramatic, and it's not every documentation and communication in an organization that must be made public. But I can assure you that there is communication of her acceptance of the position. And at the right time, she will make it known. She will come to the public and formally inform the public that she has accepted the position. So for now, it's just speculation and social media gossip.
All right. Thank you so much for that clarification. Now, moving forward, there are now competing claims within the Tonse Alliance, with the given Lubinda-led faction rejecting these appointments altogether. For the avoidance of doubt, which Tonse Alliance is legitimate and on what legal or constitutional basis?
You know, my elder brother, Mr. Given Lubinda, just loves drama. I think he enjoys the drama. There is the PF divided in several factions. Now he wants to transfer the same drama into the Tonse Alliance. One of the reasons why the leaders in Tonse Alliance decided to change the constitution is because Mr. Lubinda has never been ready for any competition. He wants to inherit by default because he was appointed to act. He doesn't want to take the Patriotic Front for an election. And that same, drama, that same confusion, he wanted to transfer to the Tonse Alliance. And he wants to maintain that status quo, to confuse the Zambian. And sometimes, sorry to say, when they say or call other people as UPND projects and all that, for me personally, I begin to seriously suspect that he's probably working with those that are against the reorganization of the opposition. Because if he really cares about Zambia, he should actually be in a position to talk to his colleagues. Let me clarify something. The Tonse Constitution recognizes Lubinda as a member of Tonse, but not as a leader of Tonse. How does it do that? Because the Tonse Constitution recognizes the ECLPF movement, and the definition of the ECLPF movement in the Constitution is that all former PF MPs and ministers, and he's a former MP, he's a former minister in the PF government, and therefore, by virtue of him being a former minister, a former member of parliament, he's a member of the Tonse Alliance. But he is not a leader because an election was called for, which he could have participated. But he chose to stay away from the election. And now he begins to claim that there is another Tonse. There is only one Tonse which was founded by Zumani, Chano Dangwila, Sean Tembo, and Dan Pule. And these are still in the Tonse that is being led by Brian Mundubile.
So now, from what we are seeing, I think a lot of Zambians want to know, are you currently operating as a united political force, or are the Zambian people witnessing two parallel power structures under the same name?
First and foremost, you have to understand that in as much as we want to have a united opposition, it is not as easy to achieve that for many reasons. Each of those leaders have got their own personal ambitions, which are not national, and there is nothing that we can do to enter their hearts and turn them around, to bring everyone together. And to think that we can only have one united opposition is a myth. It has never happened anywhere. It has never happened in Zambia. It will never happen anywhere in the world. Look at what happened in Malawi. In Malawi, there were 17 plus opposition political parties. The Malawians said, please unite, please unite. They never did. But the Malawans united around one stronger opposition. And I think that the Tonse Alliance being led by Brian Mundubile is a stronger opposition that has brought together over 9 political parties and over 11 civil society organizations that are working together. That is strong enough. And in the next few weeks, you should be able to see the impact of this kind of, mobilization. You will see more coming from, the Tonse Alliance and offering hope and proper, solid opposition to the UPND.
Now, Dr. Mwelwa, I do know that this is actually a busy time for you with whatever is happening. People expect you to, bring in your voice and clarify or just talk about what's happening in the Tonse Alliance. But also, what steps are you taking to resolve these divisions as spokesperson, and how soon should the public expect clarity and unity as we are heading towards the election?
Let me put it this way. Like I said, it is not always possible to bring all the leaders together. So there are times when you get to a point where land is shared, like the case of Abraham and Lot, because they could not resolve their conflict. Abraham said to Lot, please, which side do you want to go? And that way we can then have clarity. We have no problems if the given Luvinda-led group decided to, to pull out and be on their own, but with clarity. Then create confusion, Tonse 1 and Tonse 2, PF 1 and PF 2, and so on. Each one wants to lead. The advice that I would like to give to these opposition political leaders is that we are ready to work with everyone. We are ready. Tonse is open for everyone to come on board and contribute to the needs of the Zambian people. But in case that fails, bringing together 18, 19 organizations should actually be commendable. Yeah.
Mr. Ngwira, let me bring you in. Now, Zambians feel that opposition politics in recent years has focused more on court battles, and leadership disputes than on clear policy alternatives. What does the Tonse Alliance offer today that is materially different from the ruling UPND?
Right, thank you so much. First of all, I appreciate the invitation to be here. I think what has killed the opposition is self-centeredness, greedy, and I think sad. There are certain things that are quite clear. You're able to tell that I think here there's network. You don't have to ask because you're going to see the network. The opposition is in disarray today, not because of the UPND per se. That I have refused. Even the PF is where it is today. Maybe not necessarily because of the UPND. I think the UPND just played in after discovering the weakness. So the weakness is within themselves. I'm saying themselves because Tonse Alliance is not part of that confusion. Tonse Alliance has got decent leadership, a focused leadership, a leadership that is determined to deliver to the Zambian people what they've been longing for a long time. And that is under Brian Mundubile. This issue of no unite, no come together, council of elders, bring people together, has never worked in this country. In Africa, I can put it that way. Let's take an example of Kenya. Kenya has a lot of, alliances. They come together, political parties come together. We've got maybe more than 5, 7 political coalitions in Kenya. And they go in elections. And they deliver. So for me, I think it is high time that we just get to the reality that time for Brian Mundubile and the Tonse Alliance has come. Because as we speak, some political parties or some political leaders have been in the game for a long time. Some have even participated in elections, but they have remained alone. Anyone that goes there, they don't stay. But when you look at the Tonse Alliance that we have, that was created, as Doc alluded to, it has been moving. The confusions only came in after Honorable Luvinda now openly, showed that he is a person that believes that leadership is like, or political leadership is like umfumu, where you say, that is where the problem is. The problem also with Honorable Luvinda is that he has failed to admit and accept that it is not his time yet, if at all there will be any time that will come. Because I gave an example on a certain media house. I said, if Prime TV, for instance, has a vacancy at CEO level, then your road has been appointed to act. A year later, Prime TV advertises that we want to fill in that position. And then the cameraman, the console controller, the receptionist, the security guard, the director, they all apply. What does that show? It shows that you have failed. Because if you showed leadership and organized Prime TV properly in your acting capacity, people would have just said, no, look, I think this is the right person. Honorable Window was given the political party by President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. May he so rest in peace. And in my thinking, I feel like President Lungu wanted to prove to the world that this man is not a leader by giving him a responsibility. So the opposition is in disarray or in confusion because of, what should I say, unfounded egos. And I've been appealing to all of these people, telling them that just drop your egos. Let's move with Brian Mundubile. Tonse Alliance has never been divided in any way. Tonse Alliance has never been in any confusion as far as we are concerned. The reason is simple. Those, cosmetic problems that we had in the recent past was because we never had a leader. Now we have got a leader. Elected, legally elected, and he's sitting in his seat. Have you ever seen that there's any confusion? And just to, cement it, the man that was part of us in the initial stages, Peter Chanda, with his NCP, actually confirmed and affirmed that Tonse Alliance was a creation and remains a creation of Dr. Zumani Zimba, Mr. Sean Tembo, and others. So that should tell Mr. Rubinda that actually he's on the not really losing side. He just needs to take a step that will at least bring back some sanity and integrity to his name. Rather, this country is a democratic country. You don't have to start, or you don't have to now start fighting the owner of Prime TV, his own creation, and you want to claim that, no, this is my TV station. Yamba Chako. Who has told you, who has stopped you? Let Honorable Winda and his small group of individuals start their own. Let them leave Tonse Alliance alone. And just like Doc said, in a few days or weeks, you will see that indeed Brian Mundubile means what he says. The movement of people have already started. PF structures at district level have already started moving to Brian Mundubile's Tonse. In fact, it's a mistake to say Brian Mundubile's Tonse because there's just one Tonse Alliance. Yes, so be assured, and I want to assure the Zambian people watching us here with my senior man, the spokesperson, that Tonse Alliance means business. Tonse Alliance is here to salvage, to help the Zambian people, to bring the Zambian people together. And my only caution is that those that want, or those that are not interested, they will remain outside, just like in the days of Noah, where some people were doubting, is this really real? Until the rain came, and the rain found them outside, whilst those that thought wise went in, and they were saved.
Now, with the few interactions, the opposition and the media, we tend to see a pattern where the opposition criticizes the government more than offering, solutions or what their goal is, or some of the solutions that they have for the Zambian people. Beyond criticizing the government, what is the Alliance concrete plan on jobs, the cost of living, and social protection for ordinary citizens? I think the Zambian people also want to know what the Tonse Alliance has.
Yes. In the first place, we have a leader that will not just go to a media house or respond to media queries without providing a solution. Honorable President Brian Mundubile, whenever he's asked a question on a particular matter, he will criticize, at the same time, give solutions. Our appointed is not just job creation. Our desire as Tonse Alliance is not just job creation. It is about creating decent jobs. What do I mean by decent jobs? One, you have to look at the social life of these employees out there, including you. You have to look at what wages are there as compared to, the economic status of this country. As we speak today, workers are suffering. Why? Because every time they get those peanut salaries, they just go to solve their problems of Kalova and all that, because it is not enough. In the first place, have you, as a company, provided what is needed for a worker? Number one, do they have transportation? Number two, do they have accommodation? And I'm not talking about accommodation, but just accommodation, decent accommodation. Have you provided for their retirement, if I may put it that way? Is it through NAPSA? You talk of pensions and whatever. Have you taken care of that? Have you talked about their working gear, protective clothing and all that? So, as Tonse Alliance, I want to assure you and I want to assure the public that our first thing that we are going to do as we still look at the manifesto is, number one, every year there are negotiations happening between unions and companies. There must be a deliberate policy, and it must be enshrined in the Labor and Industrial Relations Act, that any time that you go to a negotiating table, there must be at least even a 5% automatic increment. So for instance, if I'll get an example. Mine Workers Union of Zambia is going to maybe to the workers. The reason is simple. This issue of wanting to start from zero, negotiating for salaries, I think has not helped the Zambian people. Because, the employees. Because most of the times, they will just get maybe 2% increment. But even if the economy is bad, maybe at that particular time, there must be an assured percentage that is enshrined in the law. That whether there was no increment or not, but they have gotten something. If, for instance, teacher unions or public service unions go to either Livingstone or Siavonga to go and negotiate with public service, is it PSMD, Public Service Management Division, or with government, there must be, and this we are promising as Tonse Alliance, that we will create an enabling environment where civil servants already are assured of a certain percentage before even negotiations start. At least a 5% or something like that. That brings about motivation in an employee. That brings about productivity in the country. Because if a worker is taken care of, even you as you are seated there, if you are motivated in terms of your package, trust me, you'll be wanting to come and start this program, the morning program, at 05. Why? Because you know that you've been taken care of. So, Brian Mundubile is a man that is coming from, a background of one being an employer, and he has also been an employee. So we are talking about a man who also is well vested with legal issues, because he's a lawyer. So me as chairman Labour, I'll just go, Mr. President, I think we need this. He will peruse through his, articles and all that, these lawyers that, kwenda to school with Dr. Mwelwa and all that. They'll say, I think this is making a lot of sense. You understand? So, as Tonse Alliance, I want to assure the Zambian people, especially the Zambian employee in the mines, in the agriculture sector, and above all, the public sector in terms of civil servants, that Tonse Alliance is coming up with very serious laws in terms of labor. Tonse Alliance is coming up with very conducive conditions of service beyond what we are witnessing now. I'll give an example. There was that announcement of a 700 kwacha increment by government, and I've seen Honorable Nkandu, former marketeer, saying, no, this we've done well. No, sir. you've not done well. Because that 700 kwacha, you cannot even buy food for a week. Minimum is between 300 and 400 kwacha. Nishuasarana 300. When you talk of sugar, 2 kgs, katushinga nina 90 kwacha or so, how much have you remained with? And then you talk of Izwe, you talk of, we are on TV, so I'm advertising, sorry, I withdraw that. You talk of these loan people. So a civil servant will go back home with only a pay slip. 1, it will bring stress. 2, it will bring demotivation because they will not be interested in, how does that affect the economy? The production levels are going to drop.
But don't you also agree that despite its limitations, at least the 700 increment is still an improvement as compared to the 4% increment under the previous administration?
I will, as Chair Labour, appreciate government if a civil servant at least goes home with a minimum of 4,000 kwacha or 5,000 kwacha after paying everything, after cutting everything, after deductions. But if a civil servant will still continue going home with 1,800, 2,000 kwacha, no, the 700 will remain not enough. And there are other conditions of service. Some people today, as we speak, I'm a trade unionist, I'm a labor activist. Some people have worked in government for over 20 years. They have not gotten their settling in allowances. Some people have received letters of appointments from government. They have not been put on payroll. They have not been given stations to go and work. And as Tonse Alliance, we want to promise the Zambian people, especially the civil servants, that the first thing that we are going to do after forming government on the 13th of August 2026 with Brian Mundubile declared as president is we are going to engage unions. We are going to bring ZCTU together. We are going to bring all the unions together to find out, to do some, what do we call, some background check. What is happening? What are the workers going through? What is it that you think as government we can do? And the other thing is that we want to bring back teeth to the labor movement, because the labor movement now has lost teeth. The labor movement is a center of patronage. It's now a center of pleasing those that are in power. For us, we are not going to interfere. Yes, we will need support from the labor movement. But if that support is not reasonable, definitely the labor movement must not dance because we are in government. We are going to bring back sanity to the labor movement. We want the ZCTU of the Chiluvas. We want the ZCTU of the Leonard Hikaumba. Those are the, that is the ZCTU or labor movement that we want to bring. Not the ZCTU or the labor movement that gets paraded at State House to talk about Bill 7, something that they know will definitely affect their members. We want a labor movement that when you call a general secretary, he comes to the office or he goes to State House. It's about, objective discussion, not patronage, not because a labor leader is scared of being fired. No, we are not going to issue threats to the labor leaders. We are going to give them the independence that they need. We are going to give them the teeth so that they can bite. As government, Rhoda, you cannot succeed if there is no proper criticism. Criticism is not hurt. Criticism is needed. Criticism is like an alarm that, kwacha manje ukani, mwezi mwaka mbati mfunu uka pa 12 hours. 12 hours ya kwana, ukani. We need that. So, in short, regards Tonse Alliance, once our manifesto is launched, you are going to see that even the workers, even you are going to say, I think in NC chape kusenza Prime TV, niende chape kutonse Alliance, because vintu vione kabwino. Why? Because we have a leader that is not about personal, is not about protecting or preserving a personal interest. He's a leader that says, look, I've had an opportunity to, see this life, good life and bad life. It is time now that this, goes down to a person that is in Chasefu, a person who is in Namwala, Chavuma, whatever. So we are a serious people, and trust me, we are moving, and we are moving really good.
Okay. Dr. Mwelwa, back to you. Just before we go, anything else that you'd like to say? Just in a few words.
Well, just to add on what Mr. Ngwira has said, the Tonse Alliance is not coming to the table without solutions. We have got solutions in the education sector. We have got solutions in the agriculture sector. We have got solutions in the mining sector. We have got solutions in the industrialization sector. We have spent so much time bickering and fighting each other. Now that we have a leadership in place, and as you saw on Saturday, portfolio committee chairpersons being appointed, in the next few weeks, we should be able to come back to Prime TV with our consolidated research-based manifesto. Not just a dream about manifesto, not just a dream about policies. We have got a very well-vested research team constituted by former permanent secretaries. These are speaking and they are dealing with these issues based on experience, not experiment, not just classroom, understanding of issues, but practical-based approach. Because most of we have got a huge team of former permanent secretaries and directors from various ministries that are working with the Tonse Alliance to ensure that we come up with a solution-based, a research-based manifesto that we are going to give to the Zambians. Yes, we have complained about a number of things that the UPND has not done right. And it's easy. The 5 years has been a year of learning on how not to govern. We have learned on how not to govern. And considering that some of the people that constitute, Tonse Alliance are people that have been in government before. They understand how things were done, and they also understand how to lose power and how not to govern. And based on those experiences, we'll then be able to come back to you with a consolidated position in terms of how we want to move Zambia forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on our Sunrise Breakfast Show and also engaging on these critical national issues with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Rhoda. Thank you, Prime TV management, and thank you, the Prime TV viewers.
All right, we do continue with our Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on Prime TV 2. For now, we take a short break. We'll be back on the other side.
henna muligisiide koda ya Topstar amwebere magani atugwa munchiri agasimpe amumasenamo mukala ambunga abahimu wezelela twambo bahomega abahimulimo twamwetela magani muhyogo yonse yajihi anamajaja wa Prime TV 2 channel 110 ninganda ileta magani mbwabele.
right, thank you. Welcome back. As you're watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show on Prime Television, Zambia 2. We're coming to you live on Topstar Channel 110 and streaming live on our Facebook page. That is PTV2 Zambia. Also streaming on our YouTube page, and also we're live on our website. And you can follow us and kindly comment because we need your input. Yes, going forth further, government has confirmed that no by-election will be conducted in Mpika following the vacancy left by the death of the Mpika Town Council Chairperson who passed away on January 28th, 2026. This matter was raised in Parliament earlier this week. A member of Parliament, Stephen Kapyongo, who sought clarification from government on whether the Mpika seat would be subjected to a by-election. In response, acting leader of the government business in Parliament, Jack Mwimbu, stated that holding a by-election at this stage would compromise the integrity of the electoral process due to the time constraints and logistics challenges, particularly with the general election being scheduled on the 13th of August 2026. Let's take a look at this report.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to issue this ministerial statement regarding the vacancy in the office of the Council Chairperson for Mpika Town Council, following the untimely pass of the incumbent, which follows an urgent matter without notice, which was raised by the Member of Parliament for Shwangandu, Honorable Stephen Kamchongo. Madam Speaker, the mandate to conduct elections is vested in the Electoral Commission of Zambia. However, the Commission's duty to conduct a by-election is strictly contingent upon the lawful occurrence of a vacancy and the subsequent formal notification. The Commission received formal notification of the vacancy in Mpika on 4th February 2026. Madam Speaker, Article 158 of the Constitution of Zambia, Amendment Act Number 2 of 2016, is instructive. It requires that a by-election be held in accordance with Article 57, which stipulates that such an election must occur within 90 days of the vacancy. However, Madam Speaker, the House must take note of Article 57.2 of the Constitution, which serves as a mandatory stay on election. It states, a by-election shall not be held within the 180-day period that precedes a general election. Madam Speaker, as per Article 56.1, the 2026 general elections is set for the second Thursday of August, which is 13th August 2026. Consequently, the 180 blackout period for by-elections commences on 14th February 2026. This means any by-election must be concluded no later than 13th February 2026. Madam Speaker, with the vacancy having been reported on 4th February 2026, the Commission is left with a window of only 9 days before the constitutional bar takes effect. I wish to inform this August House that holding a credible by-election within such a time frame is logistically and legally impractical. The Election Process Act number 35 of 2016 prescribes mandatory procedures that cannot be compressed into 9 days. These include: 1, providing sufficient public notice regarding statutory periods for the filing of nominations. 2, training of the returning officer and assistants in readiness for the conduct of candidates' nominations. 3, engaging aspiring candidates on the nomination requirements and procedures. 4, the conduct of nominations during which candidates file their nomination papers and the Commission verifies their eligibility. 5, a meaningful campaign period to ensure a fair and democratic environment where candidates can engage the electorate. 6, procurement of ballot papers, which involves the printing, shipment, and delivery of ballot papers, can only commence after the final ballot paper samples are signed off. Madam Speaker, rushing these processes would not only jeopardize the integrity of the vote, but would also likely to violate the rights of candidates to an adequate campaign period. In conclusion, as the remaining window is insufficient to satisfy the statutory requirements of a free and fair election, and as we are about to enter the constitutionally prohibited 180-day window, no by-election will be held for the Mpika Town Council Chairperson seat. The office shall remain vacant until the general election on 13th August 2026 in full compliance with the Constitution of Zambia. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
All right, there you have it. But now joining me on the Sunrise Breakfast Show to delve a little and tie a few knots here and there from what was said, I have Lusaka lawyer, Mr. Francisco Mumba, who's here on the show, who are going to try and tie a few knots here and there. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Good morning. Hi. How are you?
Good. How was the weekend?
My weekend was okay. I don't know how was yours.
My weekend was very good.
Okay.
Yes.
You look lively.
I just got back from home this morning, back in the farms.
Sure.
Yes. So, Mr. Mumba, we have heard the justification from Parliament, bordering on the justification of not having a by-election in Mpika. From a constitutional and legal point of view, how do you assess this decision?
Okay, I think before I comment on the statement in Parliament by Home Affairs Minister, I would like also that I think it's very important for your viewers to appreciate that statement broadly, both constitutionally and legally. Now, if you've observed, what comes out strongly in most of these submissions is the Constitution. Now, if we walk to Cap 1, which is the Constitution of Zambia, specifically Part 1, and the Article 1, Sub-Article 1, the Constitution provides that it is, paraphrase, not exactly what it is, basically it tells us that it is the supreme law of the land. Meaning any other submission from any other legal document, if there are such inconsistencies within that document. Now, when I'm saying inconsistencies that go against what is in the Constitution, it becomes void to the extent of that inconsistency. So basically, it places the Constitution above. When it places the Constitution above, it tells you too, Dominic, that all institutions of government are a creation of the Constitution. ECZ is a creation of the Constitution. So, it is the starting point. That's more reason the emphasis goes to the Constitution. Now, let's get deep into the submission of the Home Affairs Minister. If you ask me, if an election was going to be held today, I'm emphasizing this, if an election was going to be held today, it is permissible that the election will go ahead without going against the Constitution. If it was going to be held today. What is the reason behind? If you calculate the number of days from the death of the Mpika mayor to the 13th of August, we have somewhere around 196 days. From the death happened. So if you asked me, if it's 196, then it gives you a window which is outside 180 days, correct?
Correct, yes.
So meaning, if this was held, even let's say if it was held on the 13th of February, the elections were held on 13th of February, it is constitutionally allowed. But the question we're going to ask ourselves, is it feasible? We'll go to other pieces of legislation, which now the minister was referring to. If we go to the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016, it gives power to ECZ to manage elections. So when you say manage elections, there are a lot of things that you do in managing the elections. Amongst other things, you're talking about nominations day, appointment of electoral officers, appointment of polling, staff, printing of ballot papers. Now, with the window that we have, which he referred to 9 days, are these things feasible? So this is a question that the person who's out there begins to answer. Is it feasible? Now, let's not give an answer yet. Probably, let's go to what has happened. Let's go to probably the Chawama by-election. The Chawama by-elections, the speaker declared Tasila Lungu's seat vacant on the 28th of November. Declared vacant. She wrote to ECZ, because the law provides that you ought to write to ECZ within 7 days from the declaration of the seat, or from the date the seat fell vacant. And she wrote, I think should have been on the 2nd of December, 4 days later. ECZ, on that same particular day, 2nd, they set the election date 15th January. But before 15th January, the ECZ also set, I think 16th November, if I'm not mistaken, as a nominations day. Then 17th started as the campaign period. Now, if you calculate the days that took to manage this election up until the 15th of January, it took 47 days before an election. Comparatively, get to Kasama, the mayoral election in Kasama, it took, the death happened on 5th of December. On the 25th, I think should have been a nominations day. In other words, 25th, it went on till to the election date before the actual polling day, which was the 29th of January. It took 55 days to manage that. Now we have 9 days. Is it feasible? Even inclusive printing of ballot papers, is it feasible? Appointment and training of polling staff, ensuring that all ballot boxes are distributed, or ballot papers are distributed to all the areas. And you're talking about Mpika. Mpika is a rural setup, which will have challenges in terms of other areas that may not be accessible. Now, this being said, I think we get back again to the Electoral Process Act. Electoral Process Act, specifically, if I've not forgotten, Section 3, it speaks about principles of democratic elections. In other words, principles of elections. So the principles of elections, there are many things that takes into account. Okay? That the people, candidates are allowed to go and campaign so that the people may choose which leader they would want, and many others. So these principles, of course, they do not superintend over the Constitution, but they act as part of the whole process of an election. So it is not practicable that an election in Mpika will take place today without veering into the 180 bar. If you get into the Constitution, Article 57, specifically sub-Article 2, talks about that bar, that election will not be held if it's within 180 period before general election. So if we sit today and look at it, how many days? That's a more reason I've indicated to you. It has 196 days outside 180. But are those few days that have remained, is it feasible to run an election without injuring the democratic principles?
So, Council, looking at the ECZ, they have not really come down and told us how long the process would take, and if they are going to overlap. We've not had that information to our disposal. So going forward, don't you think this decision sets a very bad precedent where the future vacancies, such issues being ignored? Don't you think it's going to set a very bad precedent?
I'm not too sure, like, which is the issue that is being ignored. Look, maybe before even you respond to that one, an election can be held, like I've indicated. It can be held today. But these processes, are they going to stick within the 9 days window? Will they not overlap into the 180 days? Because the Constitution says, and it's going to create a constitutional issue, which if somebody takes that election to court, the court will declare it that the activity were ultra-vires, outside the law. So ECZ is mindful that in as much as they would want to begin the process today, which is outside the window of holding, outside the 180, but is it possible to have nominations day, printing of ballot papers, appointment of all these staffs within 9 days? Is it possible? And West is still, logistically, Dominic, you have never heard that our ballot papers are printed within Zambia. Where are they printed most of the times? They are printed outside the country, which is barring. It's barring that you cannot have elections within the 180 window towards a general election. So in my view, answering your question, I think probably will be asking too much to ECZ, because they may want to do this issue, but it's not possible practically that it can be addressed within 8 days. In fact, you're talking about 9 days. By today, probably it's 8 days or 9 days, or 7 days. Is it possible? In my view, it may not be.
Okay, so what does this decision say about government's commitment to rule-based governance and respecting the electoral process and laws?
First and foremost, I become a little bit uncomfortable, though one and the same thing, to suggest that this is government. Of course, we know ECZ is part of government. Probably we're going to get to ECZ. What is it we are going to say about ECZ vis-a-vis, adhering to, democratic principles? I think, in my view, they have tried to address the same issue of dealing their activities within the confines of the law, not running away from what I've indicated to you in the Electoral Process Act, the democratic principles. It is not possible. It is not feasible. That's a point that probably one would make, because an election is not just the polling date. This is what a person ought to appreciate, that an election is not just the actual date of casting your vote. An election embodies so many activities that makes up or that adds to the date you go and cast your vote. And it is this window that we are saying constitutionally that if ECZ were going to do it, they risk crossing into the 180 window, which is bad, that you cannot have elections within 180. So I have difficulties possibly to think otherwise, that ECZ will have done this because they are not following the democratic principles. I think, in my view, it is the same factors of democratic principles and the rule of law that which has informed them not to hold this election before the general election. That would be my view. But though, of course, I'm not speaking for ECZ, but I'm just assuming, speaking legally so, that this election, if it was going to be held today, it will veer off into 180 period, which automatically bars that election, because if somebody takes the matter to court, it will be declared ultra vires.
Okay. Finally, what message does this send about the scarcity of their right to representation? What message does it send to citizens?
About scarcity of representation, I think if you are saying representation, you are referring to the Mpika seat falling vacant.
Yes.
We should not forget that aside from elections, for instance, the mayors and district chairmen are elected just like the vice president as well as the president. These are elected by the people. If you walk to Article 154 in the Constitution, provides that these people are elected. However, the vice mayor, the vice chair are elected amongst the councillors themselves. So, meaning, administratively, in my view, they may ensure that the vacancy in one or the other, somebody, begins to act, not necessarily as a mayor, but just to do the administrative issues as regards to that seat. Because that seat can only be filled up by running an election. So administratively, they may find amongst the councillors one that may be acting to ensure that that seat or the issues that may be addressed by the vice mayor or the deputy council chairman. They may find one or the other to ensure that the representation within that district does not suffer, because that's what you're looking at in terms of representation by the people.
Yes, yes,
so that this is not affected administratively, fill it up. And yet, this individual is not the mayor, but will be acting in the position of the mayor.
Okay.
That's my view, that this can be addressed, unless otherwise.
Okay. There you have it, people of Mpika. You will still be represented. Somebody administratively will take up the position, and it won't be, you will not be left behind. I was joined by Lusaka lawyer. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure is mine. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you so much. That was Mr. Francisco Mumba, and we were unpacking and tying some knots on the decision that was made in Mpika in Parliament. For now, let's take a break, and we'll be back with more.
Kodi muli ndi decoder ya Top Star? Ngati muli nayo, onererani kanema ku channel yatsopano ya Prime TV2 Zambia pa channel 110 kuti mumvetsere kunkhani zothyakuka mwatsatanetsatane. Izi ndi nkhani zochitika ku madera amene mukhala ndi kwina. Mogwira ntchito pamodzi ndi akatswiri pa nkhani zotola ndi kulemba nkhani, tidzakupatsirani nkhani zomveka bwino komanso zogwira mtima zitangochitika. Prime TV2 Zambia, nyumba yanu ya nkhani zongochitika kumene.
Early in the morning, fire on the stove, love in a pie, that's the life we know. From the fields to the table, every bite it shows. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Mama in the kitchen, we never eat alone. Primarily me, the taste of home.
Prime Meal, pure, proudly Zambian, the taste of home. What do we stand for? We stand for possibility, for the belief that every tomorrow begins with a choice made today. We stand for growth, for curiosity that pushes boundaries, for knowledge that prepares you not just to adapt, but to lead. We stand for community, for minds that don't just think, but connect, for hands that don't just build, but uplift. We stand for experiences that shape you, for friendships that anchor you, for courage that carries you beyond this place. Here you become more than a student. You become a maker of solutions, a believer in dreams, a contributor to something greater than yourself. This is where purpose meets possibility. This is where futures are built. Charles Brook Bassar University, where you stand for what matters.
Right, welcome back. I hope that you're enjoying our Sunrise Breakfast show with us this morning. Now, something else that is trending in the world of sport, the junior Copper Queens are returning home from Uganda aboard Ethiopian Airlines following their first league FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifier. So the team is expected to arrive in Ndola today, which is Monday the 9th of February at around 15:40, somewhere there, and will immediately begin preparations for the decisive return league. Now, Zambia will host Uganda on Saturday, the 14th of February at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium, with the hosts aiming to capitalize on the away draw and secure a place in the next round. So that is one of the stories making headlines in our sports this morning. But JC is here with me on set just to give us a little bit of more details when it comes to what's happening in the world of sport. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
You're in blue, and I expected you to be in red.
Why red?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, because it's we're headed towards Valentine's, so we consider it a Valentine's week.
No, but even blue is something that has to symbolize love. So yeah, it's good.
I'm never wearing red this week. Trust me.
Yeah, but we'll have at least something red that we can find in some of your clothes.
All right, so pick it up. What's happening in sport?
Well, there are a lot of things that are really going on over the weekend. I think this has been my happy weekend. It was amazing. This weekend was absolutely fantastic. It was beautiful because everything Zambian was very well, happened so well in terms of sports. So we start with the pool team. I know that we've been talking about pool. We talked about a number of issues pertaining to pool that went to the Africa Cup of Nations to participate. The 30-team squad that went through, 17 of those were boys and the rest of them were ladies. They went to participate in pool tournament that was happening in South Africa, Durban to be specific. And the outcome, not so good really, but I think they came back with medals, except the ladies didn't come with any. But we did have the team that managed to get the bronze medal. That team, the men's team, managed to get a bronze medal. And we had Victor Sininza also managed to get a bronze medal as one of the best players in terms of how he participated and did play. And we had Leicha as well, but he got from the ladies category, managed to get a bronze medal. So he's Coppola 1. Of course, they call him Vandross. He's Coppola 1. And Coppola 1 because he won Copper belt tournaments, and he's Coppola 1. And then in the whole Zambia, Victor Sininza is Zambia 1, so he managed to win it. But as it stands, in Africa, Vandross is bigger because he's third in Africa as far as black ball pool is concerned. So the team really participated well. They managed to get at least what they got. And they're coming back, and they have to reflect on how they didn't really do better, and so that in the next coming weeks or coming years, they should do better in terms of even just getting gold, because we managed to win Africa Cup of Nations when we hosted it, and that was the second win in terms of Africa Cup of Nations. And Zambia at one point went and got silver at the World Cup. After winning the Africa Cup, we qualified to the World Cup. We went to Morocco, managed to get silver, and the ladies just after institution, I think it was 4 months before the tournament, that when the team came up, and of course they managed to get a bronze medal. It was amazing to see the ladies participate in this tournament for the first time. The eagerness, what they really did. But I think they haven't really improved so much. We need to see to it that I think the ladies should get to the party and start doing the right things that they have to do to make sure that they start winning at this particular moment. And of course, another beautiful thing that transpired is the futsal team that managed to qualify to the Africa Cup of Nations back-to-back, which is a beautiful thing, because you remember that last year in 2024, the last Africa Cup of Nations that happened in Morocco in 2024, they managed to qualify. They went into the group stage, the quarterfinals. They couldn't go into the semi-finals. Unfortunately, they were beaten by the hosts, Morocco, and the eventual winners. They are the defending champions, Morocco. And above all, the African teams in terms of futsal, I think they've improved. They've done everything possible. They're really working very hard, Morocco, to make sure that they are really counted in the globe. And this is a team that have managed to beat Brazil, Portugal, Spain. Those are big machines in terms of world futsal is concerned. So they're really putting themselves there. But as it stands, Zambia is among the 8 nations in Africa that will participate in the futsal tournament that will be held in Morocco in the next 2 months. So in April, they have to get ready for the big ones. And at the expense of Ghana, they managed to beat them 2-0 on the day, and 8-6 on aggregate, which is a beautiful thing for Zambia. They've qualified, and we hope that we'll see some of those teams that will qualify. I know Egypt has qualified, Morocco being exempted from these qualifiers because of how they really stand in as far as futsal is concerned. We do have the likes of Angola. I hope they qualified. Mozambique as well. We didn't qualify last year because, or last Africa Cup of Nations in 2024. Because they played in the playoffs against Zambia. So yeah, and one thing that we have to talk about when it comes to Zambia is that they created so many chances and they missed so many chances. It could have been 5-0 at just after the first half, and second half could have gone up to 10-0. But they didn't really take their chances, and the coach acknowledged, Andrea Cristoforetti acknowledged this, and he said, look, we're going to work on that, and we have to bridge the gap between the contenders of the great tournaments like Africa Cup of Nations and us. We have to bridge that gap because the difference is just too big. But at the moment, I think the futsal team has improved. The blend of veteran players, players that have been around, like the captain, Chota Chileshe, was been around. He was at the last Africa Cup of Nations, and Boniface, who is one of the oldest in terms of experience. He's played futsal for the longest period of time, and is still with the team. And of course, we've got some under-17s that have never played the Africa Cup of Nations. They're hoping that this is the Africa Cup of Nations where they're going to step their foot in there, and of course make sure that their names are written in this tournament. So of course, we do have the chairman. Congratulations to him, Tarak Mehta, who's been outstanding in terms of pushing futsal to this level. Cristoforetti, the coach, who's been really outstanding as well. The manager, Philemon, who has been fantastic. And I think this is the time that FAS should put a lot more effort in terms of how we push futsal in this country, so that we can work around it and make sure that we have a team that is going to compete at the highest level. And one beautiful thing about this is that, first of all, there was a social thing that was happening between Ghana and Zambia. Remember that the president of Ghana was in the country, and what he was wearing, Zambians were saying it's a blouse. And then they said that, no, it's a fugu. Fugu or fugu? What did they say? Fugu?
It's a fugu.
Fugu. And the Zambian supporters composed songs putting in fugu, and Ghanaian was singing as well, some of their songs. So it was amazing to see the Ghanaians singing, the Zambians singing and supporting the team. They came in numbers to support this team. It was amazing. The atmosphere was electric. It was really great. And the team played well in all spheres. They really hold the ball properly. The passing was excellent as compared to what they did in Ghana. This time around, it was amazing. And of course, they defended very well because they allowed 6 goals. They didn't allow any goal. They didn't allow them to play, which is a good thing. And the energy levels were really far much better than what they had when it comes to the game that they played in Ghana. So this was and the only thing that the coach really needs to fine-tune is maybe certain players were not at the physicality that he would like them to be, especially that we are going to the Africa Cup of Nations. And number 2, goal scoring. Create your chances and take them. Those are some of the areas that he needs to work on in the months that are remaining. And congratulations to them, congratulations to FAS, and congratulations to everybody that participated and watched these games. Let's get to continental football. And this was also another amazing stuff that happened, that Zesco United won their first game. And it was amazing to see Zesco winning at the lowest level as far as football is concerned. First of all, they do not have money. They are not paying their players, which is a very sad situation that they're going through at this moment. And all their best players have left the team. And Zesco United took advantage and managed to win this. But to the advantage of Kaizer Chiefs, really, they've gone on to do better in terms of how the standings are looking like for the team. But they won as 1-0. They couldn't just go out of this particular tournament without a win. It's a good thing that they managed to get 3 points, and they've got 1 game to play, obviously. And of course, Zesco United are out. But looking forward to next continental football that they will be playing if they really qualify. At this moment, they're standing on the log. I think they need to work hard, especially the remaining games that they have, or the games in hand that they have. One of them is against Zanaco, so they need to really dig deep. And in CAF Champions League, we did have Power Dynamos winning their second game. Of course, they've got 7 points. 7 points together with Bekane, who they managed to beat. But Bekane do have the best goal difference in terms of how many goals they've scored and how many goals they've conceded. And if we go head-to-head, they do have the better goal head-to-head, because they managed to beat the Power Dynamos 3-0 at their backyard, and this time around Power Dynamos managed to win 2-0. So as it stands, Power Dynamos are third, 7 points, together with the second positioned Bekane, who has also got the same points as Bekane, 7 points as well. So looking forward to winning the last game if they had to get to the next round of the competition. And we're hoping and praying and just thinking that Power Dynamos are going to do the best thing that they can do to get playing in this particular tournament. So that is some of the Zesco United really winning and enjoying themselves to the fullest after winning. So let's get now to the under-20. For me, when I was watching the under-20 play against Uganda, Uganda scored first, and I was thinking, are we going to get back without winning or without even scoring a goal? And the young girls did well. They pushed and they scored a goal, which is a good thing. They didn't lose. So the only thing that they need is for them to win at home. And of course, Uganda will be looking forward to winning at home. If they didn't beat us away, we can beat them at home. And one good thing that I like about this under-20 is comprised of the under-17 and some of the under-17 that went to the World Cup. So when you go to the tournament, to the highest tournament, and the energy that you have and the thinking that you have and everything is about the winning mentality and qualifying to the World Cup, so that you go and enjoy how the others enjoyed. So they are inculcating this memorable moment that they had at the under-17 World Cup, and the fact that they qualified to the World Cup back to back. And we still have some of the youngest players or young player in Blessing that was saying, look, I have to go to the World Cup. This is going to be my first time. But of course, the talks that we're having as a team, and especially those that have been blended in from the under-17, I think are telling us it's beautiful to go to the World Cup. It's beautiful to meet teams that you haven't met before, and playing teams that have been playing at the highest level. It's a beautiful thing. So it's a good thing that they've blended in some of these players, and we hope that this message is clear for the under-17. They will be playing on Saturday. So let's go and support them in numbers as they take on Uganda. Let's go in numbers so that we support the girls and let them qualify. But of course, this is they still have the next hurdle. That it was going to be the game between the winner between South Africa and Ghana. So they will meet the winner between South Africa and Ghana, and then get a ticket to go to Poland. So it ended 1-0. And let's get to the MTN Fast Super League. As you can see that the standings there and what really transpired in terms of how the games came through. Red Arrows topping the table. And I think for me, so far, Red Arrows have been really fantastic in this league, because they're the only team that have lost only one game. And looking at Nkana, they've been on a good trot. They've been doing very well, winning their game. Mighty Rounders as well. They really managed to win and qualify to ABSA. It's a good thing for these two teams. Nkana, unfortunately, are not playing ABSA, but the good thing is Nkana is back and they're singing songs. And you can imagine in the dressing room, I was expecting the Bustele songs, but they were singing Wamushiro and stuff like that, like praying to God that he's the one that gave them the 3 points, so they have to continue on this trajectory where they're winning games and they're enjoying. But Nkana is a team that has got morale. It doesn't matter whether they're really down, the chips are down and everything, they always sing to their level best, and everybody is a supporter from Nkana. It doesn't matter how much money you have, they go and support the team. So those are some of the results that came through from the weekend. As we see that Nkana managed to win 2-0. The team of Elders were beaten as well. FC Muzalo managed to win as well. So those are some of the games that came through, or the results that came through from the weekend. That's National Division 1. Some of the results that came through. Makeni All-Stars still topping the table, and hoping that they will continue being on the top of the table, as you can actually see. So they're hoping to qualify to the Premier League. This is the very first time that they're playing National Division 1. And they qualified to the National Division 1 after the playoffs, and they had the best qualification in terms of how they managed to qualify from the playoffs. And there they are. I think they're proving right. They're doing very well, and probably if they continue here, they will qualify to the Premier League or to the MTN Fast Super League, and that's where they will be now calling, like taking from the minister's vibe, that the Minister of Sports say we are in the Champions League, so they will be getting into the Champions League of football, playing in the elite league. Anyways, away from there, and of course, just talking about this MTN, the National Division 1, we've got Stylish Lawn United, and it's unfortunate that they lost the president. The president died, who managed to bring Stylish Lawn United into this particular league and doing exactly what they're doing at the moment. So it's a good thing. And well, this is all we had for you as far as sports update is concerned.
Right, seems like it was definitely a jam-packed weekend. Did you watch any games live at the stadium?
Yes. Okay. Nkwazi versus Buffaloes I watched, and yeah, I watched a lot of games actually.
Next time invite me.
We can go and watch the under-17, under-20.
Okay. All right, so we do continue with our Sunrise Breakfast show. We take a short break for now. We'll be back on the other side. Right, quite interesting things that we did have on our Sunrise Breakfast show. A very beautiful Monday like this one, jam-packed obviously, and just getting to update you on what has been going on, especially over the weekend, in case you did not have time to watch the news or listen to the news or just scroll through social media to get to see what's happening. Now, you know that we did speak about that Kondwani story earlier on Facebook and how we as young people should be using social media for the right reasons.
Yes. Actually, we had a brief conversation about that earlier because it was trending. It's actually trending. I think it's even in the News Diggers newspaper. Yeah, and I think this calls for a lot of young people to actually pay particular attention to what they do and how they do what they do. Let's use social media for the right purpose. Let's use it for the right things. But again, looks like Zambians love such entertainment, you know, just like what happened with is it the Fugu, you know? Yeah. That thing went viral, you know, everyone is talking about it, you know, but when matters that concern national development and bring economic development and change, we hardly speak about such things. Exactly. No, young people are not even talking about the repatriation of the body. This is 8 months now. You know, we cannot have a situation where the president, where the late president is in South Africa there and is not yet brought back here. People are not talking about such things, but bring up funny things, jokes, you know. People will talk about it. It will go, make rounds. It will be an algorithm on social media, which is not quite a good thing.
But obviously, you do have us right here on the Sunrise Breakfast Show, where conversations matter and we talk about important issues that are affecting you and I in society today. We did give you some updates. We had some interesting guests right here on set, and also just an update from Jesse in terms of what was happening in the world of sport. The breakfast that we served today. Anything else you want to say before we go?
The sun has risen. As you can see, I'm now in my sunglasses, ready to walk outside.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for watching. From me, your host, Rhoda Mlinga, and my co-host, Dominic, it is goodbye and enjoy the rest of your day.
Early in the morning, fire on the stove, love in a pie, that's the life we know.